Hello friends and welcome back to another video. In this video I'm going to rank the Ninjago Season 2 episodes. This will be a new series in my channel where I rank every season's episodes. And yeah, let's get started. I'm not going to talk much about the filler episodes because in my opinion all of them are terrible episodes and none of them I like. They're just some random filler episodes that they're my second least favorite thing about Ninjago. At 13th place, we have episode 16, the Double Trouble. This episode is not only my least favorite episode from season 2, but also my second least favorite episode from all of Ninjago. It has a terrible story. I mean, how some people can beat for grown up ninja. This is so dumb. Also, this episode was so childish with terrible villains. I mean, the bizarre ninja idea was, I don't know, cool, but they didn't do anything cool with it. The episode, every minute of it was so terrible, and I didn't enjoy it at all. I really don't want to rewatch this episode ever. At 12th place, we have episode 17, Ninja Bull Run. This episode really doesn't feel like Ninjago. In my opinion, episode 78, which is the Snake Jaguar, is a better version from this. This episode was so dumb. I mean, what all of these people are in this are compete each other in this race. The idea was I don't know. It's so weird idea. I mean it doesn't feel like Ninjago at all. This is why I hate this episode so much. At 11th place we have episode 15. Pars vs Ninja. This episode introduced the Earth, which is one of my least favorite characters. I think he is a lot of people's least favorite characters. This episode was also introduced Captain Soto and his pirate crew, which are which I really don't care for. I mean, we had pirates villains in season 6 too, but in season 6 they are a lot better than Soto and his crew. These villains were boring. Also, this episode felt so slow and terrible like the other two episodes. If I'm going to rate all of these episodes, I'm gonna probably give them 2 or 1 or 2 out of 10. I don't know, they are terrible episodes. At 10th place we have episode 14, Darkness Shall Rise, which is my least favorite season premiere probably. Yeah, not probably, by far my least favorite season premiere. Just feels so terrible. Do a lot of random things and none of them really works. I mean, the ninja getting jobs and stuff, all of this was so boring. Overall, this episode is my least favorite season premiere. It was a pretty boring and slow and terrible episode. At ninth place we have episode 18, Child's Play. This is another filler episode, but to be honest, this episode is not terrible like the other 4 episodes, like the previous 4 episodes. This episode wasn't good either. I mean, every filler episode from Ninjago doesn't work for me. This is why I hate season 2. It's one of my least favorite seasons because of these filler episodes. Also, the second half wasn't that good, but it's not what I want to talk now. I'm going to talk about episode 18, Child's Play. To be honest, I found a lot of people like this episode so much, but for me it doesn't work at all. I mean, the ninja being kids is dumb. I mean, Grandma didn't use the gun, the mega weapon on them. He just used it on that weird creature. I mean, if the ninja are were kids too, why the Serpentine and Grandma don't also? I don't know. It was so weird. Also, this episode, the Lord grew up, which is one of the most important things that happened in the series. The way how he grew up was cool, actually. The other 4 episodes were terrible, but this one is probably just okay, not terrible. It was okay to bad sometimes. At 8th place, you have episode 19, Wrong Place, Wrong Time. Okay, this episode is a lot of people's least favorite because it's super confusing. I mean, the episode aired 7 years ago, I think, and no one actually can explain how this episode works. I mean, I'm going to make a video about that. I'm not going to talk much about it. At 8th place, you have episode 20, The Stone Army. This episode introduced Misako, which is, I don't know, an okay character. I mean, she has a lot of issues with her, and she's not one of my favorite characters at all. This episode was weird also. We saw the Museum of History and we saw that big stone army. that big stone warrior. The episode was cool, not terrible actually. It was okay, I think. Uh, at sixth place we have episode 21, the day Ninjago stood still. This episode was I don't know. It was not that good in my opinion. For now, all these episodes are not good. But this episode is not terrible at all. I like how the Stone Wars are released and how the Serpentine are trapped because I'm really bored of Serpentine at the point of this episode. The Serpentine, sorry, became very boring villains. I'm happy that they ended in this episode. Uh, they should have ended before earlier, but anyways, the Stone Warriors are a cool army. Actually, they are one of my favorite armies. But I like how they do like a stone, like an apocalypse or something like that to the Ninjago city. It was cool to see. Overall, this episode was cool in some ways and boring, slow at some ways, sometimes. At fifth place, we have episode 22, The Last Voyage. This episode is a Zane Fox episode. Zane is the only one from the original four to have a Fox episode in this season. In this episode, we saw Zane's father came back, which is actually I don't like this at all. I mean, in Zane's backstory, we saw him die. It's a terrible move that they make him came back. I don't know. I didn't like it at all. I mean, this tell us that any character can die and came back at any time, which is really terrible. I don't want the Ninjago to do that at all. It was very childish. Also, in this episode, we saw it was so childish. This episode is one of the most childish episodes. You saw one of the characters who came back from dying with a very weird way. Then, in the end of the episode, we saw the ninja learning something. I don't know. That was so. I mean, this episode. I put this episode higher on my list because most of the season 2 episodes are not good. So it's not that weird to put it high in my list. This episode actually I didn't like it that much. Episodes 20 and 21 are better than this episode in some ways, but what I like this episode is when the ninja got that voice thing. When they were trying, when the storm destroyed the bounty. This is why I put this episode a little high. I like this part. At fourth place, we have episode 23, Island of Darkness. This episode was now we are moving from okay episodes to good episodes. This episode in the ending was so awesome. I like the scene in the ending where the ninja got their elemental. I was going to say time blades, but no, their elemental blades and these new suits. It was a very awesome scene. Also, their fight with the stone army was so cool. This episode, the beginning it was slow and nothing too great happening on it, but at the end with this scene, it was so awesome. This is why I put it higher on my list. At third place, we have episode 24, The Last Hope. This episode was cool also. I like how the ninja in the beginning were lazy and stuff. That reminds me of the first episode from the season. But they weren't as lazy as the first episode. From the series, sorry, not from the season. Also, I like how Misako stole that garment as helmet. It was a cool scene. Also, in this episode, Nia became no Nia. The ending of this episode was captured by the Stone Army. She was turned evil. That was a cool move. Also, this episode, the ninja tried. They went undercover, which is the thing that ninja does, not doing jobs and stuff. No, that was terrible. Overall, this episode was pretty cool actually, and I enjoyed watching it. At second place, we have episode 25, The Return of the Overlord. This episode still have one of the darkest scenes from the series so far, which is Garmadon, which is the Overlord possessing Garmadon. It was a very dark scene. I mean, it also breaks the Lego rules, which is fingers. That was weird actually, but I like it. Also, in this episode, saw some sort of mini final battle with the Overlord battling Lloyd. It was a very cool scene, actually. I like it. It was very emotional. Also, we saw the ninja fighting Nia. It was heartbreaking for them, but for me, it was an okay fight. Overall, this episode was pretty cool, and I actually found a lot of people enjoying it, and I actually enjoyed it also. And in first place, for sure, by far, my favorite episode from this season, which is episode 26, sorry, the Rise of the Spinjitzu Master. This episode is just so cool. It's my third favorite episode from this series also. I like the final battle between Lloyd when he became the Golden Ninja, and the Overlord was. It has terrible quotes to be honest, but it was cool as a fight. Also, the beginning with the ninja falling one by one in the bridge was so dark. Not so dark, but so freaky. Overall, this episode was pretty cool, and if it was the ending for Ninjago, I don't know, it won't be as good as we thought, because season 2 is a disappointing season for me. But this episode is not at all. It's actually one of the best episodes from the series and one of the most iconic ones. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Please give me your opinions in the comments, share it with your friends, give me a like, subscribe, and see you next time.